Hello and welcome to the Coaching Crowd podcast with me, Zoe Hawkins, and my friend and co-host Jo Wheatley.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast episode. This week, we wanted to talk you through the ways that you can stand out in the coaching industry. And the reason we wanted to cover this as a topic is we're often asked, how can I do this? And that's both by people who are already trained as coaches and also people who are considering coaching as a profession.
Absolutely. And there's loads of ways you can stand out in the coaching industry. And there's also lots of people offering, different strategies and approaches to building an online business. So I think we'll take, some specific things, but also a kind of a generic approach as well, because I think one of the things that we have learned certainly over the years is that being yourself is really important. Like, I think when you go into business, you can put so much polish and veneer on your marketing and on your sales that you end up with a very distilled version of who you are as a coach. And ultimately, when people are looking for a coach, they want to buy you as the person, not necessarily, the fanfare that you might put around your marketing. But I think people want to feel like they know you. They want to feel like they trust you. And I think they want to feel like they're in a really safe pair of hands. So I think however you choose to try to stand out through your marketing, actually just being yourself, I think, is a really important part of where to start, and making sure that you can show a little bit of who you are and how you work in terms of your values and ethics, to help you to start to differentiate yourself in the market, because there is nobody other than you. Like, we are all unique. And so the more we make of ourselves, the more that will shine through.
And I think that it's quite easy to get lost yourself as a coach when you're starting out and you're thinking about, how do I position myself out there in the world in this new role that I have as coach? Whatever your role was before, you could have been a VP of HR, you could be any kind of background, but you're taking on this new identity. But as you say, people want people that they can feel are approachable and relatable. And that's often underrated. So in terms of standing out, obviously, lots of questions are asked about training and accreditation. And as I've been taking calls from people interested in doing our triple accredited coaching training, I spoke to somebody last week and they said, I'm really tired of being asked the questions. Have you got a coaching qualification, and are you accredited? And having to say no, because that is the demands now. People want to know that you've had rigorous training, that you will operate inside your kind of zone of competence, and that you have got a broad toolkit to be able to draw from. And then the accreditation side of it is recognizing there are lots of different coaching training providers out there. The accreditation, I think, is almost like the double lock, because you've got the training has to have met the requirements of whichever accrediting body you choose to become accredited with, and you need to have those minimum levels of experience for each of the different levels of accreditation. So if you have done training that has set you up to get your accreditation and you have done your hours, then that definitely will enable you to stand out in the marketplace.
I think accreditation also shows your commitment to your industry and your commitment to your clients and the organizations that you work with, over the long term. So training is a one-stop shop in some regards. Like, you train as a coach, and you could leave it there if you wanted to. But what accreditation does is it shows people that you are committed to continuous CPD, continued supervision. So you are working within a strong ethical framework. And I think in today's market and in today's industry, that is really important. And I guess that actually introduces us to CPD as a way to stand out in the industry. I know you and I have both done a huge amount of CPD over the time that we've been coaches. And that is a really important way to differentiate yourself in terms of your capacity. So you can add in different methodologies to your approach. So a coaching training program will probably give you a cross-section of a number of different approaches you can use in coaching. And from there, you can go on and add things into the mix. So neurolinguistic programming is often one that people will go to. I went and did some transactional analysis and Gestalt. I know you've done teams and systemic, we've done both courses together, haven't we? And, we're bringing out our emotions coaching practitioner training as another avenue for qualified coaches to come to get support and plug some of the competence gap around how we hold space for emotions in coaching, be it that it's the backbone of a lot of the conversations that we have. So high quality CPD, a continued commitment to your CPD as well throughout the years that you're working as a coach, whether it's internal or external, is a great way to differentiate the services that you can offer. But also, again, you're showing who you are as a coach and how serious you are about your profession.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about on the training arms still around how, there are different levels of training. So we have our level 3, which is that introductory level qualification. And then we move into level 5 and level 7, which is master's level qualification. And there is a big difference in the content between level 3 and level 7. And a lot of that is the psychodynamic stuff. And so whilst you can fill gaps in with a range of CPD, I think getting a very broad-based, deep introductory or start initial coaching qualification really helps you to have that strong framework to be able to plug in additional CPD. And some clients will really want you to be on the cutting edge of the latest thinking within coaching. And I also think that the more training you do and the range of training, in my experience, it's almost like the less tied to any of them you are. And so the more authentic you can be as a coach, and the more challenging and impactful ultimately the conversations can be with coachees, because it ensures there isn't a do-to, but that you can be genuinely present with them.
I think also CPD helps you to develop your own unique content. So when you go on more and more kind of CPD trainings, what you'll start to recognize is, common themes and patterns that you're drawn to, or particular fields that you're really interested in, and you'll be trying those out with your clients. And over time, if you're somebody who does a lot of coaching anyway, you will start to notice where you're gravitating, and you'll be using things in a different way. And from that will emerge your own unique content, be it kind of coaching processes or different activities that you do, or structures that you might take your clients through. And that's really how our emotions coaching practitioner training has been born, isn't it? It's over the years we've used all these different things, and yet we've still found a gap in the work that we've done. And so we've reversed engineered much of the work that we do with our clients to package it up so that other people can experience it too. So I think if you're in the coaching profession for the long term and you're looking at ways to stand out, actually developing your own unique kind of concept is something worth looking to. And that's also a contribution to the profession. So when you're working at master practitioner level, if you're able to contribute to the field and body work of coaching that is out there in the industry, then that's going to help you in terms of sustaining or gaining those really high levels of accreditation across the industry, which again helps you to stand out. So that's both a marketing kind of piece to be able to show that you have a unique approach with your clients, but it's also there from an accreditation and quality and ethics standpoint as well.
And that's where trademarking can come into play. So if you create something that is new, and it doesn't have to be totally and utterly different to anything that's ever existed, but maybe it's a different slant on it or a different insight, you could explore whether it's something that you could trademark, and then that has a value to it, and it can create interest. Now, for some clients, that would put them off. They don't want to buy a package that is X 6-step process. But for other people, they like to have the structure of knowing that there is a process that they're going to go through. So it depends on, the clients that you like to work with and how you like to work with your clients as to whether that would help you to stand out in the way that you want to. A book is a natural follow-on from trademarking, or sometimes comes before that. So you can stand out in the marketplace by becoming a published author. And there are lots of different ways to get published. But it just makes people kind of stop and think, oh, I thought they were a coach. Oh, they've now published this. Oh, their book's been published on coaching. That's interesting. They must have something to say. So it's about how to get eyes and interest in the work that you're doing.
I find storytelling is something that a lot of people resonate with. So in your marketing, and you can call it marketing or you can call it relationship building, however you choose to look at it. But when we're looking to help people to understand what we do, who we are, how we can help. Actually telling stories is a really compelling way to demonstrate your unique stand in the industry. So I tell stories about what I've learned through my coaching, my journey to training to be a coach, how I have found coaching make a difference to my life, how I use it in both work and with my family, and they aren't curated strategic marketing posts designed to like get people over the line and purchase. They are genuinely there to help people to understand who I am and what I do. And I think people resonate with that. And so I think there is a balance between strategy that you put to developing coaching business and your marketing and your niche, and then genuine passion. And I think you stand out through passion for what you do, and the field of work that you work in. And that, I think, always draws people in when they can see that you're genuinely excited and curious about the field of work that you have found yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of these things, the things that I think really matters the most is that you continue to add value. So whatever space you're in, whether it's in your coaching relationships and you're adding value there, and then people are recommending you to people that they know, or you're in the online world and you're adding valuable content either on, responding to other people's questions or queries, or perhaps you've created your own community that people are part of and you are providing value there. And a podcast like this is, a way to add value and to share resources in a way that is accessible to a large number of people. And hand in hand with that is being consistently showing up. That doesn't have to be every day at a certain time, but consistently showing up and also continuing to learn and grow yourself. And that mutuality, I think, is so important, to be somebody that people know likes to share and be generous, and so the relationships build through those things. So the basics really of being a great human being.
I remember in the early days, we would often get messages around, oh, can I just pick your brains? I hear you've set up as a coach, whatever it might be. And the pick your brains conversations, we absolutely used to engage in 100%. It's got to look different these days. We're too busy for hundreds and hundreds of pick your brains conversations. And that, I think, is why we do something like this, like the podcast. It's another way for us to share value. And I do agree with you, Jo, that you can't share too much value, I think, because yes, of course, we have programs and courses and things that people can invest in and buy, but you have to give enough of a sample to help people to build that trust and faith in you and to understand who you are. And however you choose to give value, obviously you can design that to make sure that it fits with the way that you work.
Yeah, and now we have people booking on our training that have never even spoken to us, and so then we reach out and say, hey, would you like to have a chat? You booked onto our program. But of course, from the other person's experience, they've maybe been listening to the podcast for 6 months, or they have been watching our videos on YouTube for 12 months, or they've in our community. And so whilst we haven't had that one-to-one contact, they have already developed the association to us, or the feeling, I'd really like to train with these people. And I suppose in some ways that's how we stand out in the marketplace, because our content is accessible in a number of different formats, and we do still show up in all of the places that we have, and always from a good heart.
I suppose one thing we haven't spoken about in terms of standing out in the industry is your niche. Which I think is a bit Marmite when people come to coaching, because on the one hand, many people come to coaching and they want to help everybody. So there's that essence to resist niching. And then obviously niching is about choosing a particular slice of the market or the industry or specific client that you really want to serve and want to help. And I think, niching is a way that you can stand out in the industry, choosing where you want to serve and being able to give great depth and expertise around one particular topic rather than trying to cover all avenues. So, be that about confidence or parenting or I don't know, there are even coaches who help coaches to grow their business, aren't they, from a mindset perspective? So there's all different varieties of niches that you can go into when you're coaching. And that's another way for you to be able to, make a unique message and approach the market from that perspective.
Well, it took me 10 years to niche because of all of the, because it just didn't feel inclusive to me. But actually, in many ways, I've niched in two areas, or niched down in two ways. So coaching people who are CEOs, or certainly on a CEO pathway, and focusing around emotions coaching. And now I feel very settled in that space. People understand who I work with when they approach me. It helps to know that there is that match, and I can really be authentic in that space. So I really enjoy that now. And yes, you can stand out in that way, but it does need to come from a place of competency and also, really positive energy for doing that work, which is what people will be able to sense very quickly on a chemistry call with you.
Yeah. And I remember when we're talking about niching, and we sort of were, we've talked about this a lot, haven't we, as coaches? And then we're like, oh, our niche is actually coaching training and as educators. Yeah. And it was kind of obvious when we stumbled upon it. And same as you, Jo, like, I think I still play with my niche, so obviously I coach leaders and founders. I have a real passion for helping people with confidence and self-doubt, but that's still very broad. And I think where we said the emotions coaching is kind of the piece where we have found ourselves working, and just, we know that as coaches, we have a very big container for our clients. We're able to hold a lot of complexity, deep, complex emotions, complex situations, but we hold that in a very confident, safe and ethical way, and help clients to move forward to achieve the things they want to achieve, which sometimes is actually just about having thinking space and not being overwhelmed. The reverse being what, I don't know, work-life balance, or feeling more settled in their careers and their roles. So I think something like niching isn't something that everybody needs to do and jump on immediately in order to feel like it's the only way to differentiate yourself. You can absolutely broaden your niche. So you could start somewhere, and then you can broaden it out as you gain more and more experience and bring more people into the fold. So it doesn't have to be the exclusive niching that I think we all felt that it had to be when we were starting out in the industry, but it does help. That's the thing. It is a marketing tool that helps people to hear what you have to say.
I think another way that you can stand out in the industry is through awards. So whether it is awards from the coaching bodies themselves, or perhaps it's other more kind of private awards, if you like. There are some awards that you pay to enter, and there are some that there's no fee at all. There are some that you can nominate yourself for, and there are some that you need to be nominated by other people for. And everybody has their own reactions to awards and the value of them. I mean, we've been nominated for a lot of awards in our own right as coaches. Our coaching programs have also been nominated for awards as well, and I love it. It's great to be noticed. It's great to be nominated by your clients or by your peers. And I think it's more about, what do you do with that? Because it is such a privilege to be nominated or to win an award. And for me, it just fosters that desire to want to give back even more.
Yeah. And I think the thing with awards is, like, it doesn't come from a place of ego, like, yes, we have lots of awards, but we're not there being like, whoa, look at us, like, aren't we amazing? It comes from a place of being able to show what's possible, I think, to others. It's pride, in the work that we do. It's celebrating, like, an award for us is an award for our clients as well, and the people who we've been able to serve in doing that. And I think awards can be a really important part of being able to demonstrate to others your competence, really, and your passion for what you do. So there's so many ways that you can stand out in the industry as a coach. And I hope today has helped people to come up with some of their own ideas about how they might stand out. And remember, of course, you don't have to be an independent, self-employed coach to want to stand out in the industry. All coaches can choose to stand out in the industry. So if you're an internal coach and you're listening to this, like, we would encourage you to think about how you want to stand out in the industry as well. How do you want to stand out in your organization? Is contributing to the profession something that you're passionate about? And is that something that you want to factor into your own career development? All the leaders who are training to be coaches, how do you want to stand out as a leader with coaching skills? How are you going to build that in so that you have a really strong brand around being a leader who takes a coaching approach? And how are you going to help people to know who you are and how you work and how you coach? Because that's hugely important just from a talent development and succession planning and attraction strategy within organizations as well. So, this isn't a conversation only for self-employed independent coaches. I think it's much broader than that.
Yeah. And, you can stand out by the experience you've had in your career to date. There's so much value and relevance to that as well. And it might be that you also stand out because you're introducing coaching into an industry that has never had the experience of having coaching. So there's so many opportunities for you to stand out in your own way, in a way that's aligned to your values, the things that are important to you. There's definitely no one size fits all. And it's really important, I think, that the decisions that you make about the way that you're going to stand out are ones that you can feel pride about and that you can sustain, so that you do have that consistency there. And we're always interested to hear other people's ideas that, as to how they are standing out in their coaching careers. So if you want to share ideas about how you're doing that, come and find us in our coaching crowd group.
Yeah. And as well as the things that we've shared today on this podcast, you can buy our book, which the second part of the book is all about how you grow a sustainable coaching business. And there's lots of ideas in there in terms of practical things actually that you can do to stand out within the coaching industry. So yeah, see you all next time, everyone.